Welcome to Be Stellar Podcast. I'm David Wyrick.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ostojic here. Welcome to another episode of Be Stellar Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about inspiration.
Be inspired.
What inspires you, David?
For me, a lot of it is probably my faith inspires me a lot, probably more than anything. I have to listen. I try to encourage myself always, but I try to listen to things that inspire me. Try to listen to other people's stories. I love a good underdog story, love a good come up, things like that. Love listening to people, reading books. A lot of good books, have inspired me to change myself, to change the way I think. Because I think when you try to step into something new, obviously you have to get behind somebody with experience, but a lot of things that we do in life, they're developed habits over our environment.
Absolutely.
And so we don't even know that they're bad habits, especially about the way we treat people and things like that, especially as a leader, because a leader is really a servant of all. I mean, that's really what a leader is somebody who serves everybody underneath them. And if you can grasp that, a lot of people think that leading is just okay, bow to me. I'm the guy. You're just going to do whatever I say.
No, it's about other people.
Nobody wants to follow anybody like that.
No, absolutely not.
They just don't, unless they're just a weak person.
So I experienced this firsthand.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So when I was in the Marines, I was looking up to some guys that were we call them devil dogs. Mm-hmm. Devil dogs is person that just goes around and just fucks everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was that person. I thought that's how you're supposed to be. Everybody fucking hated me, dude. They hated me. And it was first few years of my Marine Corps career, they hated me as a lower level leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would literally take a hat, my military hat like this, and I would have all my Marines' names in it on a little piece of papers like this, and I put them in a hat. I shake it up on my drive to work, and I'd pull one name out, right, and I would read it, and I'm like, all right, this guy is crying today. And I would go to work, and until they start crying, I wouldn't stop. I would just fuck with them all day, dude. I thought I was doing...
Did you ever anybody who didn't cry?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of tough Marines that I work with, but that was few that were just got under my skin, and I was like, man, that guy, I'm gonna fuck him up today, And that was my whole inspiration for the day. Talking about inspiration, right? That was my inspiration to go to work that day, right?
So there's good inspiration and bad inspiration.
There's a bad inspiration too, right? So, but I learned, right?
Yeah.
I learned. So as I progressed through ranks, and I got to the rank where I became a staff non-commissioned officer. I actually started giving back to my Marines, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try it to the way where I got their back. I'm here for them instead of just me. And let's see how that works out.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is my Marines loved me. I keep in touch with most of my Marines today. A couple of them flew out.
I know a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. I was really that guy that stood up for him. Command comes down with some bullshit, I would try and deflect it.
Mm-hmm.
But who started hating me then? How I knew I was a good leader at that time?
Because your leaders hated
Because
you.
all freaking higher ups hated me. All higher ups hated me because I wasn't playing political games.
Yeah.
I would say it how it is. If they liked it or they didn't like it, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I said it. That's what I thought. That's how I felt at the moment, and I just spoke it.
Yeah.
And you know what? To me, it was simple math at the end. It was simple math. If I go to war today, okay, who do I have watching my back?
Yeah.
Do I have 46 young devil dogs that are ready to kill for me? Or do I have 2 or 3 lazy sacks of shits? They're sitting in the office 24/7, not doing shit, and haven't fired a gun in 15 years. Who do I want on my side?
Yeah.
And the math was simple. 46, obviously, versus 3 lazy ones, right? So that's what taught me how to be a good leader. That's why now in financial services world, I go out of my way to show my agents that I actually care about them.
Sure. Well, you have to. Any successful person will tell you if you help the people around you be successful, you'll be successful. That's the whole thing. If you take it with Jesus, Jesus washed his followers' feet. Which is, you have to understand at that time, they walked everywhere. It's dirty. It's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we wore shoes all day long.
Well, that was a thing back in the day.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, though, to wash somebody's feet is to the greatest act of humble and servitude.
Service, yeah.
Because you're saying, listen, I respect you and I love you. Let me wash your feet. And so, in turn, like, in church, if you're a pastor, you're a servant. You're a servant of the people. That's what you're doing. You're delivering God's messages. If you've ever been around a pastor for a long time, a decent one, dude,
a good one.
Their phone, like, constantly, like, is blowing up. Hey, will you pray for this? Hey, will you do this? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? I mean, it's nonstop. It's a job just to do that. So you have to look and be careful about who you're inspired by. I teach my daughters, like, you can learn something from everyone. You can learn how to be and learn how not to be.
Yes.
Because, there's times where, growing up has made them cry. And I've said to them, do you like how that made you feel? And they're like, no. And I said, so take from that, don't treat people that way. You know how it feels to be belittled, how to be berated, how to be, these things like that. Don't talk to people like that. Don't take something that made you feel terrible and turn around and make somebody else feel terrible. Inspire yourself to do good and be kind to others. The best you can. There obviously are times in life where you got to get a little rough, you got to get a little mean, and there's a time for to not be kind. But it takes a while to get. For me, it takes a long time to get there. I'll just turn around and walk away before I'll generally get upset about anything, or let you see that I'm upset about it. I'll just go get in my truck and leave. Because I don't do I can do confrontation, but I avoid it. If it gets to a certain point where, like, we're yelling at each other, nothing's getting solved. Like, hey, we're adults. We can sit down and talk about this. And when you're ready to talk, we'll talk. And I'll just get in my truck and leave, or hang up the phone, whatever. I've done that. But as far as, like, being inspired, one of the books that really changed my outlook about leadership is there's a book by a man named Gene Edwards. It's called A Tale of Three Kings. It's like a little 90-page book. And it talks about Saul, Absalom, and David. So Saul was the first king of Israel. He reigned for about 40 years, but he was only anointed for 2 years because he did wrong in the sight of the Lord. Well, then David was anointed king. And David had to wait 38 years before he was actually king. And the whole time, Saul was trying to kill David. And David still was trying to serve Saul during that whole entire time. And then when David became king, his son Absalom tried to take his kingdom from him. So you have people that say, they're the leader, and they're like, I'm the leader the whole entire time. And then you have the people underneath the leader that are like, I'm going to take your job. There's no servitude in any of that. Where being a great leader is serving your people, whether you're serving your country, whether you're serving your firm, whether you're serving, your Marines, whatever it is. You have to learn to serve. And that doesn't mean you take crap from everybody. It just means that you have to understand that you're doing the best you can to lift everyone up around you, however that works in that environment.
Well, people need to want to follow you. Like, that's how you know you're a good leader. People want to do things for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're one of those guys that's in a leadership position and you use your position to threaten other people to get them to do stuff, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
You have to find a way how to make people work for you.
Yeah.
And they want to work for you.
Yeah, they want to do with what you ask. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, one of the books that inspired me, man, is Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Once I read that book, changed my life. I realized that everything I've done in my life, everything, however I thought, was completely opposite of how I was supposed to think.
Mm-hmm.
One of the chapters
can do that.
one of the chapters in there was called sexual transmutation.
Yeah.
Right? Sexual transmutation. It's like, as guys, we have sexual energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We, do anything for it, right? Anything to get a good woman or something like that, or to get laid or whatever, right? That's what guys value these days. They think it's just That's what I used to value. I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna hook up with 3 chicks this month, 5 chicks this month. That I thought that's what made me a man. Right? That's a mistake. You don't think like that, because if I took all that time, if I actually invested that time chasing random women, put it into one woman, right, and that one woman can help me escalate to the heights
as a partner.
As a partner, yes, help me escalate to heights that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. Right now, I'm on that path, right? But it took me a very long time. Maybe I needed to go through that stuff to get to this.
Well, maybe you wouldn't have understood it.
Maybe I wouldn't have understood it. But sexual transmutation is like all the energy that you spend, chasing tail, hooking up with women, going to these bars, going to these strip clubs, whatever the hell you're doing, right? I have a lot of experience in all that crap, unfortunately.
I'll have to take your word for it. I
don't. But if I started a business, found a good woman, right now I wouldn't be just starting a podcast. I would be already like Joe Rogan 2.0.
Gosh, could you imagine getting in on the podcast floor, like just because you were focused on that instead of letting your hormones run loose to find,
that's just so crazy, man. But that's what we value. I joined an organization called United States Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And that's what we pride ourselves on, who can drink more beer and hook up with more women.
Well, what I mean? Like, well, for me, when it comes to that, is like, I didn't do that. I didn't go to bars. I didn't chase women. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that stuff. But I moved around a lot when I was a kid. And for me, I think that I had this innate need to want to be loved. And so I would go after girls, not even necessarily for the sexual part of it, but just to feel loved and wanted. You know what I mean? It took me a long time to understand that was a problem for me, is because I had to find self-worth and self-value and know that, my opinion matters. Because that's a hard thing to sit in a room and listen to everybody else and you feel like you have an opinion and nobody listens to you. So you just don't say anything. To feel like you're the guy that nobody wants. And you have to get out of that mindset. You have to get out of that thought process of I'm just going to show up and nobody really wants me here. There's no confidence in that. You have to have self-esteem and self-confidence, and you have to work on that yourself. Nobody's going to provide that for you. That's why you read books. That's why where do you find your value? Where do you find your purpose? Where do you find your worth? Do you base it on what other people say about you? Or do you base it on what you say about yourself? You tell me that you do your affirmations in the morning.
Every day.
Well, you do that because that reestablishes your self-value, reestablishes your goals, reestablishes your worth. I mean, you do that just to speak it into existence, to put it out there in the air that, yes, I am something. Yes, I will be successful. Yes, money will be attracted to me.
It's a crazy thing. It works.
It does. My wife actually has just started the one about money is attracted to me. And she's already seen, things happen in her life from just speaking. Well, you have to think about the power of words, though. The Lord spoke the world into existence. That's why they say, it's like a negative comment. I'm sure that you could probably go back in your life and name more times people said negative things to you than they did positive things 100%. To you, because words stick with you. Words cut. I can remember back to being in 4th grade and my stepdad called me a name that I won't say now, but I can still remember that crap. I remember more bad than I do good.
Well, that's what human nature attract to.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about it. World is mostly negative.
Oh my gosh.
You turn on news, it's negative.
Yeah.
You walk around, you see a bunch of negative people. Everybody's, dude,
we have no.
They all look like somebody died in their family consistently.
And we have no inspirational stories in the news. You know what I mean? When they're talking about the news, it's always some sort of controversy. It's always something terrible. Very rarely, do they put something that's inspirational in there that's man, I'm inspired by that article. I'm inspired by what that happened, by what was said.
But they don't need inspired people.
No, they need
depressed people.
Well, because they're trying to push everybody down.
Yeah,
and so that's the reason it's important to find that inspiration. I was inspired today because I was listening to, I don't even know his name, but he was talking about getting views on YouTube, getting views on something, right? He has on his channel, he has 17 billion views. It's $1 a view. is what he gets paid.
Dollar a view.
$1 a view.
That's insane.
Is what he gets paid. And he's like, the guy in the interview was like, man, that's crazy. He's like, I know. He's like, I can't even believe it. Dude's worth $17 billion. And like, I'm inspired by that because I'm like, man, how cool would it be to just inspire people and get paid to just do what you love to do? I mean, as much as I hate money, we need it. So if we could just do this and make money, like that's an inspiration to me. You know, if we can help people, if people feel inspired by listening to a podcast, watching it on YouTube, then fantastic. Like that's the greatest thing ever. That's the best job you could ever have, is to inspire somebody to be better, to do better. You know, and so, what's a movie that inspires you?
Rocky.
Dude, I love that.
Rocky, dude. I listen to
all
every time I run, I listen to Rocky music.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in it. And you know how they have like the slower ones and they have like the more higher paced ones, songs, right? So, if what I do is I just play Rocky soundtrack on YouTube. And when it's like I start running fast, right? I'm like at the treadmill, like 7.5, 8 miles an hour, just pumping it out for about 3 minutes, right? And then he slows down to one of those ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Ding, ding. I'm like, all right, I turn it down to 6.
Yeah.
And then this is my time to catch my breath, right? And like refocus again. And then the next song is, another one, right?
Yeah.
Another like high paced song. Boom, boom. I turn it back up. And I do that for about 20, 30 minutes when I do my runs and I listen to Rocky, man. And when you actually find out how Sylvester Stallone started Rocky and what Rocky actually stands for, and, he got inspired by Muhammad Ali. Right, his fights, and he's like, "What if I can make a movie about a guy that just gets beat up all the time and just never quits?"
Yeah,
and he came up with a script of Rocky. Like, if you listen to his story, how he came up with it is just amazing, dude.
Yeah, I think my favorite quote from Rocky is he's talking to his son, and he says, "It's not about how hard you can get or how hard you can hit. It's about how many times you can get hit and keep on coming."
Yeah, keep moving forward.
Well, that's life, though. Life will just punch you in the face.
Absolutely.
Every single day, what Mike Tyson say? He said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
But that's life. We all have a business plan, and all of a sudden we get punched in the mouth, and we're like, oh my god, I don't know what to do in this situation.
The crazy part is, man, is people have a job, right? And they go to their job every freaking day, right? Every day. They don't skip a beat. They start a side hustle. Something happens. Doesn't matter if they ran out of money a little bit, maybe somebody died in the family, a tragedy strikes, something happened. And the first thing they do is they go back to their miserable job and they quit their business. I never understand that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay, I get it. You need to take some time off, all right? How many vacation days do you have? Take 4 days of vacation or 3 days of vacation, put it with weekend.
What are vacation days?
Right, or like for us, I don't have vacation days, man. I haven't taken a vacation.
Your boss doesn't let you off?
Yeah, my boss in here, from my mind is my boss, and my boss does not give me a day off. But take time from your boss and then focus on your business.
Yeah.
Like if you just, and this is the thing, like I know a lot of people that have a job, some make really good money, but they are miserable doing it. Miserable. So if something happened in your family where your mom passed away, your dad passed away, somebody got cancer, something sad is happening in your family, you're going through something, why go to the miserable job? Why go to the miserable job? Take a few days off of your miserable job and focus on your business.
I think what scares me about jobs is like I know people who work jobs and they just get laid off. Just randomly, they just show up to work one day and all of a sudden they don't have a job.
Absolutely.
They've been working on their 20-year pension.
Yeah.
Or not pension anymore, I guess, but they've been putting money back for 20 years for retirement, and all of a sudden, boom, they don't have a job. They're 14 years in. And it's like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But what? The cool thing about now is that nobody wants to work, so you just can pretty much get a job anywhere. You just go apply. It's crazy to me how incompetent people are at their jobs. Like I go to stores, like hardware stores and things like that, ask people where stuff is, they're like, oh, and I'm like, for real, like you work here.
Yeah.
Like, do you not see?
Well, maybe they just started.
If I worked at home, no.
You see the guy there every year.
No, see, if I worked at Home Depot and like this is my department, right? If I work in lumber, I'm going to be able to tell you where every single piece of lumber is.
Well, it's only one aisle. Walk up and down the aisle.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't just say no. Like, study your craft. When I worked at AT&T, dude, this is, God, a long time ago, feels like now, 15 years ago. Like, cell phones were not even close to what they are now. I think the iPhone had just came out, like...
iPhone 1?
Yeah. Touchscreen phones were just a thing. There used to be a BlackBerry Storm. That's how I'm telling my age right there. But, I could tell you anything about almost any phone. Because I wanted to be knowledgeable. I wanted somebody when they called in, because I got to move to Texas. When they called in, I want to be able to help them. I want to be able to know. You know what I mean? That's the same thing in construction. Like, you have to know, like, what wood to use here and what screws to use there, what fasteners to use. Because you can't just go throw an outside deck together with indoor wood. It's going to rot. You can't shoot regular nails into treated wood. It'll eat the nails. It's things like that you have to know. You know stuff about doing T-shirts. We know stuff about financial services that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. Dude, last night's training was fire.
Was it?
Dude, it was probably the best BPM we've had since I started in financial services.
Wow.
It was so much value, and it was the stuff that I actually researched for about 2 weeks now. Because I got an agent about 2 weeks ago, and this guy actually inspires me. Right? My agent that I recruited into the business that I'm training inspires me. And this is why. The guy doesn't do anything by mistake. Everything is planned.
It's calculated.
Everything's calculated. Like, he asks every question specifically for a reason. There's no question that's just being asked for, let me just see, It's every question is asked for a reason. And he really approached me with some stuff that I was in financial services industry for about 2 years. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me research. So I watched all these videos. I read these articles, and I called all these companies. We work with 130 best companies in the country. I called 4 or 5 of them, and I found the product that he was looking for. I found it. We never had training on it so far until last night.
Wow.
And it was just, I don't know, like, I was talking about it so much, and me and him were like researching so much, and we know exactly what he wants now and how we want to structure it. But it was just crazy, dude, because, and then last night, after that, we jumped on, me and him, right? His name's Gustavo. And I was like, man, isn't that crazy? We just talked about this for 2 weeks. Like, we spoke it into the universe. And I was like, I'm at least going to train my team on this. Right? And then we all got trained on it.
Yeah.
It was just crazy, man. Like, it works. The things work. Speak it into existence. That's why people are like, don't tell people your plans. Like, I don't tell people my plans, but I tell them what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to be a millionaire one day.
I'm going to be a millionaire one day.
I will be successful. I will succeed.
I will own a jet one day.
Because you have to believe it.
You have to.
The power of belief is so underrated.
Man.
Because for one, let's start. Believe in yourself. Like I was saying earlier, if you don't believe in your own self-worth, you never will accomplish anything.
Exactly.
You have to believe that you can accomplish it. That's the huge thing about, like, being a Christian is, like, who are you according to God? If you're a Christian and you're in Christ, then you're forgiven. So all this stuff that, like, man, we beat ourselves up over constantly. You've told me about, like, some mistakes and stuff you made, and you still, when they still pop in your head, like, man, I'm an idiot. God,
I'm an idiot.
You know what I mean? But you have to let that stuff go because you can't steady call yourself an idiot. Mistakes that we made, things that we've done that are in our past, man, they got to stay dead and buried in the past. They're done. There's nothing that we could go back and change. I wish that I could go back and change so much. All the way back to like 15, 16 years old. There's things that I've said, things that I've done, that if I could go back, bro, I would change it in a heartbeat. Because I hurt people. Not intentionally. I was just being young and stupid. But
inexperienced.
Yeah. Times that I cried. Times that I literally lost all of my friends over stuff I did. Huh?
Why do you cry?
Dude, it's a release of stress.
Don't worry, we'll just throw you on a Bud Light can. We'll be all right.
Dude, I cry every week.
You do?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Hey, yeah.
That's weird.
No, it's not.
I haven't cried in like
You need to cry.
Probably 5 years.
Crying is good for you.
How's it good for you?
Scientifically, it releases endorphins. It releases stress. Dude,
Well, I do this thing. It's called gym every day.
that's fine. It's different though.
I don't know.
It is.
I'm just messing with
I
you.
know. No,
Another inspirational thing. You're talking about, putting things out. Like we just mentioned, putting things out into the universe.
You just totally usurped that conversation.
So I'm reading this
No
book.
crying.
So there's a book called Becoming Supernatural, right? And I started reading it about a week and a half ago. I didn't get that far yet. I'm only maybe about like 60, 70 pages into it. I read every other day whenever I have time, 10, 15 pages a day, right? A couple little sub-chapters.
Right.
And he talks about being in the present,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he talks about autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
like autopilot. Like we are, you get up in the same time, you go to the same job, you do the same tasks over and over. You take lunch in the same time, you get off in the same time, you rush home through traffic to get home at the same time and do the same crap, which is like watch TV or barbecue or you know what I mean. But it talks about how you need to be in the present and think about what you're doing.
Be intentional.
In the present, like be intentional. Like if you have a job, obviously Monday through Friday, most likely you're going to be doing the same tasks over and over, especially if it's like a job in a factory where you operate a machine, pushing the same buttons, right? But like our autopilot kind of like lets us do that without us even thinking. Like we don't even think about it. You just and if you and he talks about how if you just remember the past and you're doing the same thing over and over and over, how your life will never change.
Well, and time just flies by when you're on autopilot like that.
You
5 years goes by and you're just like, man.
But because you're not even aware of what's happening.
Yeah, you're not intentional.
You're just doing things over and over automatically where you don't even think. Like your body just does motions. It's like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being a robot. You're just repeating same thing.
I've been on autopilot before.
Bro, I want to be on autopilot, but for myself. You know what I mean? Like. So it's about instilling the habits in you to do different things and be present in the moment, but think about the future.
Yeah.
And I started reading this book, man, and dude, I'm only, like I said, 60, maybe 70 pages into it, but it already starting to inspire me. Like the way I think, it's changing the way I think. Even though, I've read a bunch of business books, we're on our way to becoming very successful, right? Multiple businesses, we're doing all this stuff. Consistently working and grinding, but there's always, and I believe the books come into your life at a right time as well. Like I said.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll be reading something like, man, this is just what I need.
This is just what I need. Absolutely.
It's the same thing. Like, what's crazy about stuff like that? It's like even like going to church. Like, dude, I went to church before and like heard a message and was like, holy moly, like that was at me, and I didn't talk to the preacher. You know what I mean? Like a couple of weeks ago at church. So I always go to church with like something prepared just in case pastor says, hey, I need you to speak today, right? So I always just have a little bit of something. Well, I had prepared this message and I think it was Ezekiel 47, I think is what it was. And so I'm just sitting there with it and I didn't know that another guy was preaching that day. And he gets up there and he preaches. And you know what he preaches?
Exactly what
I was going to preach.
Wow.
I was like, dude, that's great. I went up to him after church and said, hey, I want to show you something. And I opened it and I said, look. I said, literally, I said, Brother Walsh is going to ask me to speak today. I said, that's what I was going to preach on. It's the same thing you just preached on.
That's crazy, man.
And he was like, man, that's nuts.
Is it a coincidence?
No, it's God. 100%. It's God.
100%.
And even like when
what you put out, what you think about, you attract the same things,
100%. Yeah, you have to. You're only as successful as the people you surround yourself with. Your future is in who you hang out with. I tell my kids that all the time. And I was really proud of one of my daughters. She went to a birthday party this last weekend. And her mom, the girl's mom, told my wife, said, I'm glad that my daughter is hanging out with your daughter because I believe that your daughter is a good influence because she seems like a really good kid and she's not like these other kids. Because my daughter, if like, from what I understand, now obviously there's probably things she does that I don't,
She's a teenager, bro.
Well, yeah. Oh, shut up.
Do your parents know things that you did when you were a teenager?
They do now. Not when I was her age. I was way worse when I was her age, though.
Yeah.
But like she gets away from people. If they're like vaping, dude, she's 13. They're like people smoking weed and vaping in her school. She gets away from them. She's like, no, I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be part of that. And I'm like, I'm so proud of her for taking a stand on her own. Dude, I've sat with her when she's cried because she's like, Dad, I don't have any friends. Because she refuses to do the bad things to keep her friends.
Yeah, of course. That's good.
And I'm like, I tell her, I said, baby, trying to do the right thing is a lonely walk. I said, because when you take a stand and you say, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, people don't like to hear, especially as a teenager, dude. Peer pressure, everyone's like, even kids that actually agree with you are like, oh my God, because they just want to be accepted.
Yeah, that's
as
it.
kids, we all just want to be accepted. And even as adults, we want to be accepted.
I did the same thing, bro.
Yeah, I never, gosh, bro, I smoked weed for the first time when I was like 14 at my birthday party. Nothing happened. I didn't get high or anything like that. It was the dumbest thing in the whole entire world to me. It still is. It's still stupid. But like I did it because like I wanted friends. I had all these guys at my birthday party, and it was retarded. Like I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the whole entire world. And I've tried it since then, and it's still dumb. Like I'm still like, yeah, nothing's happening. Like this is the dumbest. Why would people do this? Like so.
How about when we know adults they're like 45 and they are consistently high? Consistently high, dude. And I'm like,
I'm just not. I don't judge anybody. Do whatever the heck you want to do. Like
I do judge the people that are consistent. You're driving high.
No.
My wife and kids are on the road.
So I don't judge people for what they do as long as it does not affect me. So like if you're an alcoholic, like I think that's stupid. But as long as you don't show up to work, like if you show up to my construction job, and as long as you're not affecting work and everything's going the same, whatever you do in your free time, bro, get at it. I don't care. That's fine. But don't let it affect everyone around you and affect your business to where you can't be successful because you're too busy trying to get drunk, too busy trying to get high, too busy trying to chase tail, too busy trying to do whatever it is that you're doing. Don't let it affect everyone around you. You know what I mean? Because you're an adult. Do what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Do I think that it's stupid? Yeah. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I think it's dumb. Are there medical purposes for marijuana? 100%. But if you're just doing it to do it, you guys might disagree with me. That's fine. This is where I take a stand. I'm
one of those guys, I've never tried weed before.
It's stupid.
Ever. I mean, I've drank, when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore. I have a beer here and there. If I'm in a company of good people,
yeah,
I'll have a beer. Yeah, there you go. Like we're playing golf, man. I'll have a beer, maybe 2 beers.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get drunk. I'm not gonna get buzzed.
Where you can't even drive your golf cart.
Yeah, dude, like flip a golf cart or something like that. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that, right? So like, I'll have a drink. I'm not against having an occasional drink, doing a toast.
But anything that affects your life to the point where you can't function. Anything. I don't care what it is. Drinking, smoking weed, whatever you're addicted to. TV.
Watching porn.
Yeah. We're just watching TV shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, I got to get home and watch my show. Streaming has kind of ruined that. How often nowadays do you hear somebody, it's like Thursday night at 7, most of I got to get off here, my show's coming on. Nobody cares anymore. They're like, I'll just record it and watch it later.
Well, you know what's crazy though? This is the craziest thing I've heard lately. Is people actually watch other people play video games.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
It's like
kids watch other kids play with toys.
Bro, that's my daughter. I was like, man, shut that shit off. Shut that goddamn TV off. Get outside and play. This is what I tell my kids. This is when I go like this. I'm like, see that door? Open it.
Yeah.
See that tree? Yup, because we live in the country. You see where I live. See that tree? We have a small apple tree to the point where they can climb it. If they fell off, it wouldn't hurt them.
Right.
It's only like a few
feet.
Knock
the wind out of them or something.
Right.
Maybe.
But I was like, see that tree? I want you to climb it and fall off of it. And my daughter goes, Daddy. I'm like, go outside and play. And you know what, man? Ever since I started getting nice in the last month, bro, they've been outside all day long because my
Yeah.
kids are homeschooled.
Yeah.
So in the morning that we get up, me and my wife, we drink coffee. I don't eat breakfast no more, right? Intermittent fasting consistently. My kids eat breakfast. They do their homework. They do their, letters, numbers, whatever they're doing. My daughter's first grade. My son is not even. It's like kindergarten, whatever. But everything's at home.
Yeah.
Right? They do that stuff for an hour or two. Their homeschool is done, and that's the beautiful part about homeschool. They only need to study like 2.5 hours a day. When you go to school, you spend 8 hours a day.
Yeah, a lot of time.
So 2.5 hours a day, they knock out their homework. It's about 11, right? Outside, let's go. And they go, dude, my daughter's riding the bike real nice. My son is about to, right? He's starting to learn. They're playing outside. He's a beast, dude. Like, my son's a straight beast.
Ride towards those woods at the bottom of the hill.
My wife's like, no. My wife goes, baby, don't ride at the edge right here. If you go down the hill, you're going to hit those trees. I'm like, hey, if you go down the hill, just make sure you go left and right in between the trees all the way to the bottom of the hill.
No, bro, down by the bottom of your hill's that fucking creek, man.
Yeah, but it's dry.
It's like a 20-foot drop off.
It'll be all right. So I believe in kids getting hurt.
No, I believe in it.
I believe in going out there. Like, I believe in kids. Dude, when I was out there, dude, I fell off trees. I broke my leg. I broke my hand. I broke my collarbone.
I broke my collarbone
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Dude, my shoulder was in my hip.
That's jacked up.
Like, in the hip. Like, I had no functionality. And I was like 6 years old. Went to the doctor. They wrapped me up. I'm good. You know what I mean? Yeah. My dad took my bike away for a year. That pissed me off more than me breaking my collarbone, right? But that's just how you got to do it, man. They got to go out there. They have to experience life themselves. Like, pain, kids hitting themselves, is them pushing their limits.
Gosh, that's how you learn, though. Like, man,
that's how you
I
learn.
spent so much time in the woods when I was a kid. Dude, one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life is, where were we at? Devil's Den. It's in Arkansas. It's a campground, I believe. It was Devil's Den. Me and my two stepbrothers, we just decided to climb this, like, rock face, right? Back then, it looked like it was 100 feet. Probably 50, 60, right? Mm-hmm. Free climbed it. Just because we were kids. I remember getting like halfway up that thing.
And looking down.
So the looking down doesn't bother me. It was getting up about halfway and then have nothing else to grab. Because you can't go back down. You know what I mean? Going down a rock face is way different than climbing up.
Wow. I never tried it.
Going up, you can always, you're standing, right? And you're looking up. And you can like reach and feel and kind of grab. Going down, you can't.
You can't look down like
you can't really look down and see, like, especially if you've climbed up something that's like concave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't like swing under and like hook your feet back, and then like there's nothing. Bro, I remember being up there and like, dude, I was scared.
Oh, of course.
Luckily, we
probably regretted shit out of
bro. Yeah, I did. I was like, I will never do that again. Like, that's insane. Like, that broke me from doing that. 100%.
But you pushed the limits.
I did. Well, I did a lot of stuff.
It felt really good.
I love rock climbing, like, and hiking and stuff like that. I really do. Like, that's probably, like, I like that as much as I like golf, probably. I just don't go do it enough.
I don't think I like anything as much as golf.
Golf's pretty fun. Golf is a hike, though, if you walk.
Yeah. Right. Oh, by the way, we are starting a golf channel. I am with a couple of my other buddies, so that's going to come probably by the end of this month. We already created a page on YouTube, Flop Shot Golf. Go look it up. Follow us already. We don't have any videos yet, but it's coming the end of this month, along with some apparel and everything else.
Let's start it tomorrow.
I'm actually excited. Yeah, we can shoot some videos tomorrow.
Let's shoot some videos. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm
Every time we play Scramble, let's do it.
Now let's go play 9 holes after this.
I don't think I have shoes. I have my gloves, though.
Go grab your shoes. I'll meet you at the golf course.
Hey, Ben, might be playing golf after this.
Yeah, but inspiring, man. What inspires? Like golf inspires me.
Golf does inspire me. Like, it's an inspiration to watch to just hit your own great golf shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, man, I just hit that thing 300 yards. I can do that again.
Well, my thing is, like, every time I have a bad day, like in business, man, you're gonna have bad days.
Oh gosh,
people
positive attitudes on bad days are such an important thing.
People are gonna screw you over. Things are not gonna go the way you want it. Contracts will fall through. That customer that was supposed to buy this stuff is not gonna buy it. Right? Things are just gonna happen. It's just part of business, part of life. So, like, every time something like that, like last year, every time my appointment would cancel, I use like a 2-hour time slot for an appointment. my appointment would cancel, or maybe 2 would cancel, and I would have a 4-hour time slot. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go play some golf.
Mm-hmm.
And in that golf game, I find inspiration to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look how beautiful the day is, man.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful the world is. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you go out there, get some sun, right? You walk around a little bit. If you're stressed out, as soon as I tee off my ball, man, and I swing my club, all my worries in the world go away.
100%.
Right? So that's my inspiration.
Yeah.
And my inspiration to succeed in business one day, to have the successful podcast, successful apparel company, successful financial services business, have agents and all that stuff. My inspiration to get through all that, through all the hard days to accomplish all of those things, is so I can play golf.
Yeah.
And I can shoot more podcast episodes.
To me, it's so relaxing. Even bad days, that's one of the first things I taught myself. It's so relaxing just to, even if I hit a bad shot nowadays, I just kind of laugh and go, wonder how I'm going to hit that one over there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just one of those things. I'm not a professional at it, so, I think it's more frustrating when I play scrambles than it is when I just go, like, play me and you. Yeah. Playing scramble because, because you can hit better shots.
Of course.
And I think that's the worst part. Is
we're going to go play after this. We're going to go play after this. If y'all want to play golf with us, let us know. Let us know, because we would love to play with you.
Fly us out to wherever you live, pay for our golf. Wait. Yeah, do that.
Wait, we're supposed to do that.
But just be inspired, man. Just find little inspirations. Like, read inspirational quotes. Like, get in the mindset of inspiration, of positivity. Get all the negativity, knock out all the bad decisions that you've made. We've all made bad decisions. We've all done dumb things. You're not alone.
What's your recipe to success?
I haven't found it yet.
I have a recipe.
So, I think for one, you start with belief. You have an idea, you start with the belief that you can do it. And I think that you have to have, one part belief. And you have to have one part hard work. And then another part, never quit. You know what I mean? I think that those are the 3 basic things that you have to have is belief, hard work, and a never say die attitude. We're just going to keep on pushing. Even when it looks grim, we're just going to keep on going. Because generally when it looks the grimmest is right before your big breakthrough.
Yeah, I'd say top three things is, for me, is drop all negative people out of your life. That's number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2, develop some type of faith, belief. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's in God, yourself, whatever you want to believe into, develop some kind of belief. And then 3, work really hard. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Simple 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Drop negativity, develop faith, mm-hmm. and work hard.
Yeah, 100%.
Those are my top 3 things. That's what I do every day.
Don't forget to be stellar.
Never forget to be stellar. We love you guys.
Yeah, I'm David Wyrick.
And I'm Ostojic. You can follow us on social medias. We got TikTok, we have Instagram, and we have Facebook page right now. You can listen to us on every single podcast platform out there.
Watch us on YouTube. Yeah.
Watch us on YouTube. We're excited to bring you guys new episodes. We got more guests coming next week. We have a repeat guest coming next week. We're going to talk about Fate 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Our last episode on Fate got really good reviews, and we have decent number of listeners for this specific episode, so we decided to bring Andrew back.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen Monday. Other than that, this podcast is sponsored by Black Eagle Designs, my apparel company. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.